In 1997, a man was charged a $40 late fee for returning the movie Apollo 13. That small frustration sparked a revolutionary idea that would one day reshape the global entertainment industry. This is the untold story of how Netflix went from a DVD rental website to a streaming giant worth over $180 billion. In 1997, Reed Hastings rented the movie Apollo 13 and forgot to return it on time. When he did, he was charged a $40 penalty, but instead of getting angry, he got curious. Why should watching a movie come with a penalty? Why weren't rentals built for convenience and not punishment? That single question led Hastings and his colleague, Mark Randolph, to launch a small website the following year, Netflix.com. The idea was simple but bold. Instead of driving to a video store, people could rent DVDs online and have them delivered to their mailbox. No due dates, no late fees, just convenience. At first, progress was slow. DVD players were still new and many people didn't understand the concept. But in 1999, Netflix introduced something that would change everything: a monthly subscription model. For just $16 a month, users could rent as many DVDs as they wanted, one at a time, without ever worrying about late fees. Netflix was no longer just a rental company. It was redefining how entertainment could fit into everyday life. But Netflix wasn't alone in the movie rental game. Back in 2000, Blockbuster was the undisputed king, with over 9,000 stores across the globe and generating $4.5 billion in annual revenue. Renting a movie meant going to Blockbuster. That year, sensing the future of rentals would shift online, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph approached Blockbuster with a bold offer: acquire Netflix for $50 million. But Blockbuster didn't just decline, they laughed them out of the room. To them, Netflix was a silly .com experiment with no stores, no profits, and no future. But that laughter would become one of the biggest missed opportunities in the business history. Instead of fading, Netflix doubled down, improving its platform, refining its logistics, and winning over subscribers one DVD at a time. In 2002, just 2 years after being dismissed, Netflix went public on the Nasdaq, proving it wasn't just a passing trend. By 2007, Netflix had quietly shipped its 1 billionth DVD, and Blockbuster still hadn't realized that it was already losing the war. The internet was rewriting the rules, and Netflix was holding the pen. By the mid-2000s, DVDs were still the king. But Reed Hastings saw the writing on the wall. The internet was getting faster. People didn't want to wait days for a disc in the mail. They wanted instant access. So, in 2007, Netflix made its boldest move ever. It launched a brand new service, streaming movies and TV shows directly over the internet. No discs, no delivery vans, just click and watch. At first, the streaming library was tiny, a handful of older titles and B-list content. Critics didn't take it seriously. But the idea was revolutionary. Watch whatever you want, whenever you want, instantly. No more rental deadlines, no late fees, and no physical media. It wasn't just a product upgrade. It was a total reinvention of how people consumed entertainment. This marked the true beginning of Netflix as we know it today. Not just a rental company, but a technology-driven entertainment platform. In hindsight, it wasn't just smart. It was the turning point that rewrote the future of television. As Netflix quietly grew, Blockbuster finally woke up to the threat. Scrambling to keep up, they launched their own DVD by mail service. nearly a decade late. But by then, the game had already changed. Netflix had moved on to streaming, while Blockbuster was still stuck in its old model, charging late fees and relying on physical stores. By 2010, the inevitable happened. Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. The once mighty empire with over 9,000 stores and billions in revenue had collapsed. The Goliath had fallen, and in its place stood Netflix. Once dismissed as a startup joke, now the undisputed leader of home entertainment. But Reed Hastings wasn't celebrating. He was not interested in being the king of yesterday's model. While the world saw victory, Hastings was already looking ahead. He had a new vision, one that would redefine storytelling itself. As Netflix grew its streaming service, a new challenge emerged. Licensing content from traditional studios was expensive, limited, and unpredictable. At any moment, hit shows could be pulled off the platform. The solution was to own the content. In 2013, Netflix made a bold move that would forever redefine its identity. It produced its first original series, House of Cards, a gritty political drama starring Kevin Spacey. It wasn't just a show, it was a signal. For the first time, a tech company had become a serious player in Hollywood. House of Cards earned critical acclaim and Emmy nominations, but it was just the beginning. Soon came Stranger Things, Narcos, The Crown, and a long list of global hits. Stories that were fresh, fearless, and binge-worthy. By 2019, Netflix was spending over $16 billion a year on content, more than any traditional studio. It wasn't just distributing entertainment anymore. It had become one of the most powerful storytellers on earth. From a DVD rental startup to a global content empire, Netflix had rewritten the script again. Success made Netflix a global icon, but it also invited powerful new enemies. By the late 2010s, the world's biggest companies joined the streaming race. Disney launched Disney Plus, armed with Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar. Apple introduced Apple TV Plus, pouring billions into prestige storytelling. Amazon doubled down on Prime Video, bundling entertainment with its global e-commerce empire. Suddenly, Netflix wasn't the disruptor, it was the one being disrupted. Yet, by then, it had built a fortress, over 200 million subscribers, presence in 190 plus countries, and a library of content that spoke dozens of languages. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Content spending soared past $17 billion a year. Debt ballooned to fuel growth and questions grew louder. Was Netflix burning too fast? Could it hold its lead? Netflix didn't respond with words. It responded with stories. Not just in English, but in Korean with Squid Game, in Spanish with Money Heist, in German with Dark, and many more. The message was clear. This was no longer just American entertainment. Netflix was becoming the global storyteller. Netflix realized something most media giants overlooked. The world doesn't just want to watch stories, it wants to see itself in them. So, instead of forcing Hollywood everywhere, Netflix flipped the script. It started investing in local creators, local actors, and local languages. In South Korea, it backed bold K-dramas like Crash Landing on You and the global phenomenon Squid Game. In Spain, it turned Money Heist into a cult favorite across continents. In India, it produced Sacred Games, gritty, layered, and unapologetically Indian. This wasn't just content, it was cultural translation at scale. Netflix empowered countries to tell their own stories, then gave them a global stage. Today, Netflix operates in 190 plus countries, producing content in over 30 plus languages. Its audience speak every major tongue, and so does its library. From a Silicon Valley DVD startup to a platform for global storytelling, Netflix didn't just change how we watch, It changed who gets to be watched. Netflix didn't start with a global vision. It started with one annoying $40 late fee and a better question. Reed Hastings wasn't trying to build a media empire. He just wanted a fairer and simpler way to rent a movie. And that curiosity led to one of the greatest business transformations of our time. So, what do we learn from Netflix? That true disruption doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from asking why things are the way they are and why they can't be better. That rejection isn't the end, it's often the beginning of something better. That when you stay obsessed with solving problems, even the smallest idea can grow into something global. If this story inspired you, then you need to watch the next one. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Decoded Voice for more real stories of business revolutions. And let us know in the comments what's your favorite Netflix original. Thank you for watching.